Malware isn't one thing. It's not just a virus, and it's not just hacker code in the abstract. It's actually 8 completely different jobs, and every single one of them exists because the last one eventually stopped working. This is every category of malware, sorted by the problem it was actually built to solve, not by name. Level 1 starts with the oldest problem there is. How do you get your code running on a machine you don't control, with nobody helping you? Level 1. Replication. Some malware doesn't wait for you to help it. It just copies itself. Take the virus. It attaches itself to a real file, a document, a program, an email attachment, and it needs a human to actually open that file before it activates and starts to spread. No open, no infection. Now take the worm. A worm doesn't need a host file, and it doesn't need you to click anything at all. It's a standalone piece of code that exploits a flaw in a network or an operating system and replicates itself straight across every connected machine it can reach, entirely on its own. Replication solves getting code running somewhere. It doesn't solve getting code running on somebody who's actually paying attention. That takes a different approach entirely. Level 2. Deception. If you can't force your way in, the next move is obvious. Don't force it. Get invited in instead, wearing a disguise. The Trojan is the obvious one. It looks like something legitimate, a free tool, an invoice, a cracked piece of software. And unlike a virus or a worm, it doesn't replicate itself at all. It relies completely on you running it yourself. Malvertising works the same trick through a different door. A malicious ad placed on an otherwise real website that delivers the payload the moment you click it, or sometimes just the moment it loads. And underneath a huge number of both is something called a dropper or a downloader. Its only job is to quietly install the real payload after you've already let it in, sometimes carrying that payload hidden inside itself, sometimes just pulling it down from a server the moment it lands. This is usually the actual first step in a ransomware attack, not the ransomware itself. Deception gets you in the door. It doesn't answer the question every attacker asks the moment they're actually inside. Now that I'm here, what's worth taking? Level 3. Extraction. Breaking things is optional. Taking things quietly is the more profitable move. And by 2026, most malware has figured that out. Spyware is the broad version, monitoring your activity persistently, over time, reporting back to whoever's watching. A keylogger is a narrower, older version of that. It just records every single keystroke you make, which means every password you type gets recorded right along with it. But the real growth story right now is the info stealer. Instead of watching you slowly, it sweeps your entire device once, fast, grabbing browser cookies, saved logins, crypto wallets, and session tokens in a single pass, then sends all of it out immediately. 2 separate industry reports in 2026 both landed on the same number: more than 1.8 billion stolen credentials in a single year. The top 3 info stealer families are sold as a monthly subscription, starting at under $100 a month to anyone who wants one. Extraction solves getting paid eventually. It has one weakness: eventually. It only works if somebody else buys what you stole, later. Some attackers don't want to wait that long. Level 4. Extortion and destruction. Skip the waiting. Get paid directly, immediately by the victim. Ransomware encrypts every file it can reach and demands payment for the key. Ransomware as a service has dropped the skill required to almost zero, and it shows. One major breach report found ransomware present in nearly half of all breaches, with an average total cost north of $5 million per incident. The newer standard move is double extortion. Steal a copy of the data before encrypting anything, so even a victim with clean backups can't just restore and walk away. Pay up, or the stolen copy gets leaked publicly. Backups don't fix a reputation problem. Then there's the wiper. No ransom note, no key to buy back, just permanent destruction. Wiper malware first showed up at scale in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, and it's since turned up against critical infrastructure elsewhere. It only looks like ransomware from a distance. There was never anything to negotiate. Extortion and destruction both solve getting paid. Neither one solves the fact that they're loud. The moment a ransom note shows up, the target knows exactly what happened and starts hunting for how it got in. Level 5. Stealth. Every tactic so far eventually gets noticed. The newest malware doesn't hide a file on your computer. It keeps changing its own identity so there's nothing fixed left to catch. A rootkit buries itself deep, sometimes at the kernel level, sometimes in the firmware itself, specifically engineered to stay invisible to normal detection. Fileless malware goes even further. It never installs a file at all. It just abuses tools your operating system already trusts, so there's nothing sitting on the disk for antivirus to even scan. By 2026, it's behind the majority of serious malware incidents, and more than half of companies admit they struggle to catch it. And then there's polymorphic malware, code that rewrites itself every single time it runs, so no two copies ever look quite the same. Estimates vary depending who you ask, but most land somewhere around 90% of malware today using some form of this. Stealth solves getting noticed. It doesn't solve the next problem. Hiding well during one infection is worthless if you lose your access the moment that machine reboots or gets patched. The next tier isn't about hiding anymore. It's about staying. Level 6. Persistence and control. The most dangerous infection isn't the loudest one. It's the one that quietly keeps a permanent door open. A backdoor is exactly that. A hidden, persistent access point installed specifically so the attacker can come back without repeating the original attack. A remote access Trojan, a RAT, goes further, handing an attacker full hands-on remote control of the machine through a server they control, often bundling in rootkit tricks just to stay hidden long-term. And a botnet takes that same idea and multiplies it. A whole network of compromised devices working together, usually to run massive denial-of-service attacks or credential stuffing at scale. Mirai is still the textbook example. Found in 2016, built to hijack exposed smart cameras and home routers, and after its source code leaked online, variants of it were behind the attack that knocked a huge slice of the internet offline that same year. Mirai-based botnets are still active today. Persistence solves staying on one machine indefinitely. It doesn't solve the bigger limitations sitting underneath every level so far. All of it still needs one victim at a time. Level 7. Distribution at scale. What if malware doesn't attack you at all? What if it attacks something you already trust instead and lets you install it yourself? This is the supply chain attack. In 2026, a self-propagating worm did exactly that inside the software supply chain. Once it stole a single developer's login for a widely used code package, it used that access to compromise more accounts and published copies of itself into even more packages, entirely on its own, with no human required after the very first breach. Thousands of developers downloaded it as part of their own normal workflow, trusting a name they already trusted. That solves distribution. One breach becomes thousands, without the attacker doing the work thousands of times. But everything up to this point, however it spreads, is still a type of code a human being sat down and wrote, once. The newest shift in 2026 isn't a better way to spread code. It's a different question entirely. What if the code didn't need a human author at all? Level 8. AI-authored malware. This is malware that asks an AI model for new instructions every single time it runs, instead of running on fixed code at all. One example, called Prompt Flux, queries Google's Gemini model roughly once an hour to rewrite its own source code from scratch, becoming a functionally different program every cycle just to defeat antivirus tools looking for a fixed signature. It's the first confirmed case of malware using an AI model live, during its own execution, not just to help a human write it beforehand. It's not alone. A second tool, called Prompt Steal, has already been tied to state-linked hackers actively using it against real targets, querying an AI model live just to generate the exact commands it needs to steal documents off a machine. Two independent cases within months of each other isn't a coincidence. It's a pattern starting. Every level up to this point was a category of code somebody wrote once. This last one is a different relationship entirely. The code doesn't get written once anymore. It gets rewritten every time it runs by something that isn't the attacker. 8 levels. Not 8 random categories. 8 problems. each one created by the limits of the solution before it. Replication got code running, but not past attention. Deception got past attention, but not to anything valuable. Extraction got the value, but only slowly. Extortion got paid immediately, but loudly. Stealth solved loud, but not permanent. Persistence solved permanent, but one victim at a time. Distribution solved one at a time, but still needed a human author. And the last level didn't even need that. If there's one level you want a full deep dive on, the AI-authored malware or the supply chain attack, drop it in the comments. Because that's exactly how the next video gets picked. Subscribe if you want the next map built out just like this one. See you at level 1 of the next breach.